I completed the
Hi, welcome everybody. So this is about explanation of chapter 1, 2, 3 and on. You're doing two different companies. Express Start is really chapter 11. So chapter 11 is to start a new company. There's two ways of doing it, Express Start or Detail Start. I would give you in a midterm Express Start because it's just easier to work with. But what is the other options? Open existing file, create from existing files and convert and so on. If you would close this window, not the program, the window, you will have other choices as well. It's easier to work from this window. No company open right now. This is brand new QuickBooks 20, happens to be QuickBooks 2018, matter. Using 2018, not 2019, but it works the same way. So 2018 and 2019 are very similar. You go over here. After I close that Express Start window, I'm going here, open a sample. Sample product is Rock Castle. Sample service is Larry. So from chapters 3 and on, you're really working only on service-based business. I'm going to start with that. So I want to put on, you see, I don't need any backup file. I don't need anything. It's for sure going to be project 1 when I open it up. Anybody else? Okay, so then it says, do you want to update the company? You say yes. So right away, I'm going to be in Larry's Landscaping. So chapter 1 really just wanted you to type your name in the company name and only look at profit and loss, balance sheet, and get to know the company. That's the whole purpose of chapter 1. So the chapter 1, because I'm using 2018, my date is 12/15/2022. Because you're using 2019, the date will be 12/15/2023. The year, it'll be 1 year ahead. So it matches your book perfectly. So I'm just pointing it out why I work in 2022. Because I didn't download 2019. I have the license for 2018. It doesn't really make a difference. Okay, so then we're going into sample company. We wait for the computer to open the home screen. I like a different type of a view. So I go to view and menu. First of all, a lot of pop-ups. There's like Accountant Center. You could see many pop-ups come up. Okay, this is Accountant Center. You don't need the Accountant Center now, so you just close it. You want the home screen. And they tell you, you can always go back, go to Accountant and menu and find Accountant Center. Okay, so this is the home screen when you have vendors, customers, employees, company, and banking, which is banking is chapter 3. I like a little bit different view. Instead of here, I bring it up. So view, top icon bar. The benefit of this view is that you have a shortcut right here on the side of important accounts. Like if you want to know how much money is in checking, you see it right away. The other view doesn't have it. So account balances shortcut is with view, top icon bar. Okay, so now you're really regular, in the home screen. I'm following instructions of chapter 1 just as a review. So I go to company, my company. The purpose of company, my company is to get to know something about the company. Larry Landscaping, I want to know if he's a sole proprietorship, partnership, things like that. So I'm looking here. The income tax form says 1040. He's a sole proprietor, which means he works alone. If I would see over here 990, or if I would see 1120, it will say corporation 1120, 990. It will say 1065 partnership. 990 means non-for-profit. You will see different codes here. The thing that the book wants you to do is really change Larry Landscaping to your name. So you go with it. You see that pencil key right here? All I did so far is company. So edit, and I can write my name instead of Garden Supply. I would write down, let's say just my last name. So from now on, my title on the top of the screen is Larry Landscaping and your name. So that's the benefit that I have when I'm getting from all of you reports that say your name on the top. So always do that. Company, my company, and put your name there, again with the edit key. So your legal name, the company name changes with your full name. Don't change Larry Landscaping, keep it there, but just add your name. Okay, so we're done with this part. Then chapter 1 is very simple. You go to reports, report center, or you go to company and financials. They want you to look at profit and loss. And then they ask you specifically what, the dates that you want. If they say last fiscal year, you choose here, last fiscal year. Don't worry about the dates, it's going to be correct. So last fiscal year, if that's the instructions, you'll see that you go down, all the way down, and you'll see a loss of $83,760.14. It's only a crazy sample. Nobody works at a loss of that amount, but that's what this company shows. So this is Larry Landscaping. Same idea, I can go for a balance sheet standard. Whenever I would say profit and loss or balance sheet, I mean standard. So standard means the regular way. So balance sheet standard, you have assets, liability, and so on. And they would tell you the date. So if you need to type the dates, I think it's 9/30/2022. That's the date they want. That's the end of the year for them. That looks good. Okay, so always be careful with your dates. You could also say last fiscal year. And it will come out automatically, 9/30/2022. You see, it's easy way is by choosing last fiscal year. And then the book and connect, how do you work with it? You copy numbers directly from here. If they would ask, what is the long-term liability amount on the largest, let's say. So this is the answer, 20,801.07. You just copy from here. If your dates are wrong, your homework will be wrong. Okay, so you have to really copy it over. Then the homework is to export to Excel. You can update the existing worksheet. Now I'm going to share a different way. So you prepare the files beforehand in Excel. I don't think I have Excel ready, but let's see. Okay, so here's Excel that's not ready for this. So I'm going to share again. Okay, all I did is myquickbooks.com and you get to the Excel. You can do QuickBooks 2019 and you have all the Excel templates right there. Just look, scroll down, picture, then you have Excel template. Chapter 1 report 2019 like that. Okay, and you have video tutorial if you need. You have a lot of information there. So all I typed is my QuickBooks. You see it's my-quickbooks.com, QuickBooks 2019 on top. So all the files are there. You don't even need to go to this because it's also on the homework. Let me switch it to McGraw-Hill Connect. If you're able to do the homework, it's very simple, back and forth. Okay, so I'm showing you examples of chapter 1 homework. Okay, so the first chapter 1 homework is you have to really notice the instructions. On the top, it says open chapter 1, make sure you're working in Rock Castle. So when you're working on Rock Castle, it's the other company. It's a sample product. So the first group is a try balance and a profit and loss. And they're asking you what is the largest single income? What is the largest single expense? Okay, I'm showing already the answers, but I want you to notice that it switches companies. So chapter 1 switches a company. 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the largest single asset on the balance sheet of Rock Castle? Mr. Castle is Rock Castle. Okay, then we're going to switch to Larry Landscaping. So number 6. 6 is coming from here. 6 coming from Larry Landscaping, just hired you. And you're doing page 61 in the book. So it has to match. And the file can be found here if you need. You click on that. But I showed you how you don't need it because this is chapter 1. You're just opening the sample. It will be fine. Second part, go to the profit and loss. Again, you have to look at the page because of the instructions. It doesn't say here the dates. And if you're missing up, you know, you're not sure about the dates, how would you do the exercise right? So you have to look back and forth at the book. The ebook tells you what's the date that you should look for. Okay, an example, fountain and garden lighting. Okay, I can switch back to QuickBooks and see if I'm right. So here's my balance sheet, and I'm working right now in profit and loss. So here's my profit and loss. They're looking for fountain. Okay, so this is on the top. They're talking about income. Fountain and garden lighting, here it is, 5279.49. And like that, I'm going to go back and forth and answer. So this is the way you do homework. Okay, so maintenance and repair, all of this will be found in the profit and loss. Like it says, profit and loss, make sure you chose last fiscal year, and then you have all the answers right, including I showed you the minus of the net income. Okay, so then you're done with 6 and 7 and 8. 8, go to the balance sheet right here and tell me what is the single largest liability item. So first of all, if you want large, usually it's long-term. Maybe sometimes it's mortgage or other loans. In this example, it's bank loan of any city. So it's a bank of any city loan. Let's see if it's the right answer. This is profit and loss. I'm minimizing. I want to find my balance sheet again. If you forgot how to do it, it's company, report center. Report center takes a little bit longer because it just brings the picture of it. So I like to go to reports. You see, this is report center. That you have profit and loss, and then you have the groups. So you slide down, look for balance sheet standard. You will have an image of it. Okay, here's balance sheet for a comparison, and this is standard. So I double click on this, or you can also do here, change to last fiscal year, and then say run. And here's my numbers. So this is asset, and they're asking for liability. So I'm sliding down, looking through. Of course, accounts payables in this case is very small, so it's not accounts payable. The largest amount is this one, 20,801.07, exactly like you saw there. And that's how you're done with chapter 1. So this is number 8. And, oh, okay, one more in chapter. There's 9. Stay with the balance sheet, copy these answers. So they want to make sure that you did the right dates. See, opening balance equity is 151, 970.07, things like that. So I go back and forth. I have my balance sheet on the screen anyway. I go down and match it. 151, 970.07. Return earning, things like that. You really have everything on the screen. So you just copy. You could do it from Excel if it's easier for you. So export to Excel. Click on Excel and export to Excel. Okay, so I'm done with chapter 1. When you submit the homework, you have to send the Excel spreadsheet that you did with all the sheets inside that matches the work. So that's part 10, last one. So again, number 6, 7, 8, 9, all from Larry Landscaping from project 1. So you did 2 companies. Okay, then you switch to next question. Oh no, chapter 1, you don't have to send even. That's it, you're done. You don't need to send Excel. You could just you ignore Excel. Chapter 2, I want Excel. Okay, so chapter 2, I would like to get an Excel. So let's see the homework for chapter 2. This is where you're starting with Excel. Chapter 1 should be faster for you. Okay, so chapter 2, you're starting with Excel. There's 6 parts. Complete the step-by-step of Rock Castle first. and copy the accounts and amounts. Okay, so it's similar to chapter 1. But here I want you to do statement of cash flow, copy line by line, pull down menu, and choose line by line. It's a little bit time consuming, but you're learning how to do cash flow. Okay, what type of an account it is? These are new accounts already. You had to make a new account called selling expense, and then to create 2 sub-accounts, 6410 and 6420. So advertising expense and promotional expense were sub-accounts of selling. I'll show how I'm doing it on the computer. So, okay, it's not the same company, but it doesn't matter. For our purposes, it's fine. I go to chart of accounts, which is control letter A if you want a shortcut, or from the home screen, you click on this chart of accounts. Another way of doing it, list and menu, top 1, chart of accounts. So I always like the shortcuts, control A, control C, control all those. So if you're comfortable with that, you could just type control letter A. So now we got into control and letter A, we got the chart of accounts. The first thing we do on Larry Landscaping is to follow the instructions in the book. We want to add account numbers. Do you see right now, this is QuickBooks without account numbers? No numbers at all. If you missed reading chapter 2, you will not have account numbers. So that's first of all, the students have trouble with homework is that you don't have account numbers. So you go over here, edit, preferences. Going to add account numbers by doing this. Go to accounting. Okay, so I'm showing again, step by step. This is regular default QuickBooks, but because we're using the book and we're using account numbers, you have to follow the instructions. So, and besides, I prefer that. The reason you have account numbers is really very helpful. Number 1 is assets. Number 2, the first digit is the liability. So anytime I type 2, it's right away going to be 20,000, let's say, accounts payable. If I type 3, it's going to be equity. So right now I could get confused. I might have equipment rental, income, but I might think it's an expense. The number next to it will help me. If equipment rental starts with a 4, I know it's an income. If equipment rental starts with a 6, I know it's an expense. So it's very confusing to some students without account numbers. And I prefer it as a student because QuickBooks by default is without it, but because you're accounting students, I want you to put it on. So we're going to edit accounting, the first one on the left. Okay, and now you have 2 tabs, my preference, company preference. So accounting, switch to company preference and say, use account numbers. You're making a check mark, you'll see that this will change. Another point over here that a warning is on if transaction are 90 days in the past and if transaction is 30 days in the future. In a real company, you should definitely have them on. But because we're using a sample company in the future of 2022 and 2023, definitely uncheck these. Okay? Because that will just irritate you. So take them off. In real company, we'll keep them on. Now you say, okay. And you'll see it jumps and it gets most of the accounts gets numbers, except the accounts that were not originally done by QuickBooks software. And now I'm looking at the sample and the example here is 4 digits, like 2000 is accounts payable. If you saw Rock Castle has 5 digits, 20,000. Okay, so that's the only difference between sample service is 4 digits, and sample product is 5 digits. You stay with the same style. What does it mean? You would, let's say the accountant doesn't have a number, I'll just choose it. I'll say Control E for edit and put the number 1,000 because this is the first digit I want 1,000 to be always checking. And if you need another one, no problem, you just do it again. So Control letter E, 1010, I'll do it another way. I'm selecting it, right mouse click, a little bit slower, edit the account. Okay, 1020, let's say. And like this, I'm choosing all my accounts that doesn't have a number. Barter account, I don't think they need it, but anyway, let's see. That means that like you do cutting the grass for me, I'll do your bookkeeping for you. That's a barter account. Account number, that's it. I'm never repeating a number. Each number has to be unique. Now, what does it mean, sub-account? I think this number is not. Now, if I did repeat the number, it will tell me this number exists. Please do not merge it, change the number. I'll show you an example. If I said employee advance, edit, and I chose 13,000 again, it already exists. You will get a pop-up. The account number already exists. So you will not be able to reconcile. You will not have to be very careful. Do not merge it. So you say, no, we don't merge it. You go back and you're changing it to 1230, let's say. Just choose an account number that doesn't have it already. Okay, so here I'm going to give you an example of what was created the right way. We have original purchase price of the truck, 13,750. And then we see a contra account, accumulated depreciation, minus 1325, which means a loss of value. And then we see a truck, 12,025. That means the book value of the truck. So the truck itself really doesn't get any value. It just happens between the two. So original purchase price and the cumulative depreciation, the contra account, shows you the automatically value. Okay, so that's very important to understand. This is the purpose of the main account, sub account. I'll do an example like this, and I'm teaching you how to do sub accounts. So this is chapter 2. Account new. Again, I'm not repeating the numbers. I'm doing new numbers. And if you come up with these are all credit cards. Credit cards could be 2110, 2120, 21. See, these are sub accounts as well. I'm not repeating the number. I'm selecting and giving it another number. Everything would look nice and neat when you're done. 30. I'm trying to keep to the same total. No. So they have already 2130. Okay, so it should be 2140. Or 2131, like that. Okay, so all done. You still have equipment loan. You see it's a long-term loan. Bank of any city, you can come up with a number. But the rest of them have numbers. The 6 means expenses. 7 mean expenses as well. And then you have that says non-posting, sales order and purchase order. Read this in the book. This is chapter 2. What does it mean, non-posting accounts? Only on the computer you need non-posting accounts. Sales order, purchase orders. Okay, so those do not post. It means do not go to the chart of accounts. Virtually, they're here. Visually, I should say. Purchase order is here, sales order is here. The reason is you could save it, but it does not change your accounting. Because the idea of the word purchase order is I'm only ordering. I don't create the debt in any way. I'm ordering, let's say Larry Landscaping, ordering a lot of sand. Or let's see what he can order. Soil. So he's ordering 100 gallon of soil, and does he owe $530 right away? No, because he's only ordering. So this is only saving and non-posting. That's the explanation of non-posting accounts. So that's purchase order. You see, you're able to save, but not going to general ledger. Same thing with a sales order. Customer calls up and he says, I want 5 trees. I call him back. Corona time, I'm sorry, I don't have those trees. I want a lemon tree. I don't know if he has trees even. Trees, yes, they have plants and trees. Citrus tree. Okay, so now I can't get a tree, but I want 10 trees, so I can put in the sales order and start working on it. But it doesn't mean the customer owes me $660. Just order. Only when you ship, the customer owes you the money. So that's what I want you to read in chapter 2. What is non-posting accounts? Okay, so we're done with chapter 2. Sorry a second. Okay, so now chapter 2 was entering new accounts. I'm going to do an example of a computer because I want to show you the main account, sub account. Or if you want to see the expense, I could do that too. And you have examples of expenses. Like you have interest expense here and finance charges under it, loan is under it. You always have it on utilities. Let's say utilities is the main account, and under it you have gas, electric, telephone, and water, most companies. So they asked you to create selling expense. So I'm doing a new account. That's from down here, account new, or just control letter N. You're going to get to the same screen. And you choose expense. Now notice the categories. The first two, income and expense, is only profit and loss. The rest are all going to different papers. So if you need cost of goods sold, it will be down here, cost of goods sold. If you need other income, other expense, it's down here. If you need other, that means long-term, other assets, intangibles, you have them here. If you need other current assets, it's here. So right now we're doing an expense, an example. I'm going to call it selling expense. Could do it without a number at all, but the point is the selling expense is my main account. And if you like to copy and paste it to the description, it's fine, but it's not mandatory. If this account number is used, and I'll try. 40. Okay, it worked. So selling expense, it's not in the right place at all. I want it to be in alphabetical order. Expenses, job expenses.
Professor, should we be doing this as well at the same time?
No, you should not be doing it because it's on the
Okay.
wrong company.
Okay.
Selling expense should be on Rock Castle, not on this one. I'm right now working on Larry. So I'm doing Rock Castle and Larry. So it doesn't matter, but just the idea of adding accounts. So we see repair and rent and then taxes. What number you would design it if you want selling expenses to be between repairs and taxes? That's my question to you.
60.
You see 7560? Very good. 7560 is the right answer because we want it to be between those two. So we can go back to selling expense and edit and say 7560. But if you're following the book, you have to follow the numbers that they give. So I want 7560, and this is my main account, selling expense. Now I want two sub accounts for this, advertising expense, and the second one would be promotional expense. So I'm going to do new account, still expense, and the account name is advertising expense. You don't have to do it, just watch. And it's sub account of selling. Now, since selling is 7560, I could do 7561, or I could do 7570. Okay, so work between. Okay, so this is advertising. Notice that I don't have a beginning balance because this is a temporary account. It only goes to the income statement. So we never bring it from last year. Okay, if you didn't understand what I just said, I'll explain it now. Look carefully at the screen how it changes when I say this is a bank account. You see it says enter opening balance? Because you can have money in the bank from last year. It's a permanent account. If I would say show me other assets, again, enter opening balance. Everything from a balance sheet would have this box, opening balance. But if you said income and expense, of course, it disappears because it's income and expense of this year only. So you're not bringing it as a beginning balance. Same thing with cost of goods sold, it's empty. So income, expenses, other income, other expenses, they don't have that box. Only assets, liability, and equity would have opening balance. Okay, so we're switching again to an expense. Last one, promotional. And sub-account of selling. Notice that I did twice selling. Do you see it's already indented? That means a step under. So promotional means like a gift of some sort. Maybe gift card or free gift in general. Okay, so that's the number that's similar, 7562, let's say. Okay, I'm done with the exercise. So you see it's 1, 2, 3. That's in a nutshell, chapter 2. So now we're going to chapter 3. Some of you had a problem with that. Homework for chapter 3. I go back to the home screen. Chapter 3 talks about record deposits, which is right here, write checks, and later on reconcile is chapter 4. Okay, so that's how we're starting with this chapter. Let's go to write checks. Obviously, we have money, 99,250 and 02. I'm not worried. I can write a check. It's not going to bounce. I'm not going to write a check for 90,000. So we have enough money to write a check. I'm going to do an example that's not in any book, just an example to show you how I use my accounts. Okay, let's choose a new company. I'm making daily news, a newspaper. And I decided to advertise my company. He's a new vendor. Daily news going to be quick ad vendor. And I'm spending $250. Okay, so the difference here that right now it's 250, but I don't know what it's about and what it's for. So then I called the bank, I called the newspaper. They told me $100 is advertising. No, let's make it, let's make it $100 advertising. So I'm splitting between two accounts. Advertising for January is going to be $100. And the second one will be 3 gift cards, $50 for the first new clients. Okay, so now this is not accounting yet. We're going to do the accounting. What I just did is called split. I took the 250 and I split it between two accounts, 100 and 150, because I want them to be in two different expenses. One will be advertising expense. Okay, I have 2 of them. That's not so good, but I'll choose the right one. I want you to see that it looks like this. Main account is selling, advertising is a sub. Next one is promotional. Promotional expense. So we have 75, 62. So 61 and 62 I'm really choosing. But the main account is being done. Let's make it on December 27. Okay, so I wrote a check. And this amount will be 250 will be deducted from here. That's the reason I chose 250. It'll be easier for you to see. Save and new. See, it's exactly 99,000. The minute you wrote the check, the amount went down by $250. Okay, and right away, my paperwork will be correct. Okay, so if I would go to reports, I would go to profit and loss again. Let's go back up. First one, profit and loss debt. Why is it jumping? Profit and loss standard. And I'll choose the date, show me until the end of December, because I did 27. Okay, what I want to show you is an expense that was not there at all before, and now it is. You have selling expense. I typed it all in caps, so it's really obvious. Selling expense, promotional expense, advertising expense. 150, 100, the total is 250. If I don't need the breakdown, I have up here the word collapse. So then selling expense becomes one line of 250. So it depends who uses this report. If they want detail, how much did I spend on gas? How much did I spend on water? Then you need the expend. But if you need to give it to a bank, utility expense, they don't care about the details. So that's the purpose of collapse and expend. Very nice idea of the main account, sub account. That's one purpose. On a balance sheet, it's a little bit different. So balance sheet, let's go back to reports, balance sheet. Standard. I showed you about the truck. So let's concentrate on the truck for a minute. I'm not even changing the date. I just want to show you what's the purpose of expend and collapse. Truck right now says minus 1725. We bought it for 13,750 and the book value is 12,025. If again, I give it to a bank and it doesn't need the detail, I just press collapse and you will see the track value is 12,025. So that's really the purpose of main account, sub account. I hope you understood it. I'll show it one more time in the chart of accounts. Okay, so now I'm going to work on a fixed asset to show you how I do it on fixed asset. Okay, like the truck. Truck is 15,000, 1510, 1520. I'm going to make a new asset that I have from last year. New account, Control N. You could do it from up here. You could do it from down here. New account. The category is fixed assets, even for cumulative depreciation. Let's see if we're reading it right. Building, land, machinery, and equipment, and vehicles. Okay. Okay, account number would be 1530. And I'm going to call it computer equipment. That's the shell. Computer equipment is the main account. I could write many things about it. I can write down that this is 2 computers. Dell, whatever you want to write. But this is not a value yet. I don't put any amount at all. I just do save and new. The next one will be computer cost, which is a sub account of computer equipment. Now, when you talk about original cost or cost, then you're putting the number in. And again, I'm not repeating a number, it's a new one. So this is Dell, 2 computers I bought for, let's say $750 each. I'm going to start here and say $750 each is $1,500. And I bought it December of last year. This is a September company. So October 1st of 2022. Okay, so now I have a beginning balance right here, 1,500 last year, 2022. I could even change it. Maybe it should be 2021. I want to show you we lose value. So I bought it in 2021 and I'm dividing it and I'm going to lose value. So now I'm creating a cumulative depreciation. Sub account of computer. So it's a new account, still fixed asset, but it's a contra account. So it's going to be sub account of the computer equipment that we just saw. So it's accumulated depreciation. If you know this A/D is accumulated depreciation, it's great. If not, just start typing it. Okay, then we type over here, straight line depreciation, no salvage. This is to help other people understand what I did. 3 years life. So I did 1,500 divided by 3. Okay, and I'm doing minus 500. Notice that I type minus because if I didn't, the computer thinks it's a debit. It's an asset, so it's a contra asset, means it's a minus. Putting it as of 09/30/2022. Okay, lost 1 year value. Okay, explanation again. It's a contra asset. You lose only value, loss of value. Not a piece of the computer. The computers are both here. Okay, so what happens is like this. Remember, I did not type 1,000 at all. I typed 1,500 and I typed the -5. The book value of computer will be 1,000. Okay, so you don't have to repeat this exercise. This is just explanation from chapter 2. What's the purpose of main account, sub account? This is the best way. Okay, chapter 3, let's continue with deposits. So we have another new account on chapter 2 that you don't have it in physical in any accounting books, only in accounting information system. The account name is called undeposited funds. Right here, it's called undeposited funds. What does it mean? There's $110 that is waiting to be deposited, a $40 and a $70. I see that without a check mark. Every time I get a check, it's like a temporary place. I get the money, receive payment, and I can put it in my drawer because many times in real life, you get the money today, but the check is not good until next week. So you receive the payment, you did receive the payment. From this screen, it could be a cash, check, whatever. You're going to wait to be deposited the next day. So it's not automatically, it's 2 steps. First, you receive a payment and you credit the account receivable, the customer exactly, whoever owes the money. And you see the amount, let's say he sent $15.75. So I'm gonna make $15.75 over here. And that's gonna match to this. Okay, so it's applied and this is what I'm saving. That will go to the midtime. The customer has a balance of $15.91.03, that's fine. So this is the temporary place. The check could be waiting for me. So I could say check, I could write down the check number and so on. But I'm not depositing it today. So I'm waiting with this. So that's a temporary place. It's going to go to here and that's waiting to be deposited. So right now we have a 2. That means this two things are waiting to be deposited. So when I click on this, I would see the 70 and 40 that I showed you before. A candy store that owes $40 and Julie's dollhouse, $70. So those 2 are waiting to be deposited. If you're following the book, chapter 3 says to ignore this. Don't deposit them. So following the book is very important. Just press cancel. You're not depositing them, ignore it, and work on the deposits that they do give you. Okay, right here, date, and so on. Okay, so I'm really working with the book. So I'm changing the date to whatever I see in the book. I'm careful with the date, 16, 2023. Okay, so the owner, Mr. Larry Woodford, we're going to say Larry, you will find him, is other. He's not a customer, he's not a vendor, he's the owner. Decides to invest more money in the company. So it's owner investment of $1,800. So from account, really what it's saying is always deposit should be to checking, not to any other of these accounts. That would be a mistake. So you're depositing into checking. That means this is your debit. You only have to think of the credit. Where is the credit? So of course, equity, because this is the owner. So owner's equity going to go up. So we're going to 30/20, which is owner's contribution, owner's equity. And if you want to type, it's owner investment. Not even a must. And then you go with check number, because if I gave you a check number, why not type it? That's his check, 1558. It was a check. And of course, the most important thing is the amount. So really what's important on this screen is the amount, 1,800, and this account. If you miss this and you typed owner investment, you will not be able to save. Okay, I'll show you, I'll prove it to you. If you left this blank, leave it blank, and I'll try to save. You must assign an account number. Basically, you have a debit, you don't have a credit. If you left this blank, this is not a transaction. And though everything is complete, the most important is the account number. So owner's contribution. Be careful not to choose owner draw. Draw is a contra. Drawing is opposite. So owner's drawing is when the owner takes money out. So, but it's really easy to follow the book. So we finished with transaction, save and close. Okay, I'm careful with the date. I'm following the book exactly. In fact, I made a mistake because I'm using 2018. See, I'm in 2022, I wrote 2023. Okay, so let me fix this because the years matter. Okay, so the correct date is 2022 for me, for you is 2023. Okay, I'm done with that. And then they say, go to write a check. So I click here, write check. Pay for computer repair, $360. Okay, so we have 100,800, no problem now, we have money. And we spend on computer repair to computer services by DJ. So we say computer services by DJ, or you select it, $360. Again, what's important is the date, the account. So we're changing the date. Check date is December 16, 2022. Computer repair. Okay, I'm choosing the correct account, 7552. That's it. I finished the page. I did already deposit and I did already write checks. So this is how you do chapter 3, project 3. Then they say go to and create a sales receipt. Okay, you're learning more in chapter 3. You go over here, home screen. We finished with the banking, record deposit, write checks. Now they want you to do a sales receipt. It's right here in the middle. Create sales receipt. Now the idea of sales receipt is cash that we get right away, and later we're going to make a deposit. So it's 2 steps. This is first, and then later it's going to be making it increasing to a number 3. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So create sales receipt. It's given a customer that exists already. So you just have to look for the name Jean Pauly. I hope you have it. Okay, I don't have it. Maybe I'm in the wrong company. No, it's Larry Landscaping, Jean Pauly. I might have skipped instruction. Maybe project 2, they gave a new customer and I didn't do it. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna make a quick add. So I'm adding the customer, Jean Pauly. Quick add. And the item. Okay, so I'm on page 168. Some pages in your books might be 170, 168. Don't get discouraged. Look for it exactly where it starts, project 3.1 in the book. So go page, like a page or 2 difference. And they're buying a pump. So we're typing here pump. Okay, remember this is cash sales. So they tell us we got cash, we click on cash. Now, even if you didn't put anything, by default, it's 1, but you have to really carefully match the book. So they said they bought 3 pumps, you're putting it 3, it will be 3 times 75. Okay, so pump, amount, description, serviced item. No, I need to switch over here from sales to retail. Retail will give me quantity. So I'm switching the template. So I'm looking for where's the quantity. I didn't see quantity right here. So switch the template to retail, and then you will see 3. Okay, I think this is the difficult part that you had with chapter 3. So switch to cash, say pump, but first make sure that you're on the right template. It's sales receipt and retail, and then you got to find the quantity. So it's 3 times 75 plus tax automatically came out to 239.63. And I see that in the book because I read a little bit the same page I read ahead, and I see that the customer paid 239.63. Please make the deposit. So I know it's correct. So I'm doing, I don't know why it's not functioning well today. Okay, it's cash. And the date was December 19. So I'm switching it here. You can use the plus sign if you like that, or you could just click on it either way, and you close, save and close. Okay, done with this one. Remember, I told you it's going to jump, so this will be a 3 instead of a 2. It means 3 things are waiting to be deposited. So they told you to do only Jean Pauly deposit. So you select only her, say okay, and you received the money. So it's automatically correct. It's coming from undeposited funds. And the date on the check, the date that you received, that you're putting the money in the bank is the 21st. So this is how you do chapter 3. Okay, so I'm already done with 2 pages on chapter 3. Save and close. Okay, so I reviewed banking, write checks, making deposits. I reviewed sales receipt and making deposits. So step 1 is this, step 2 is that. And now we go into something else, a little bit of accounts payable. Accounts payable is enter bills and pay bills. Let's see what they want. Vendor and expenses, enter bill. Okay, so we go to enter a bill. It's again 2 steps. First you enter a bill, then you're going to pay for it. Choose. I hope it's in there. Again, it's not in there. Carol Design Media. Okay, I guess it's new. So I'm going to type it. Carol Design Media. Quick add vendor. You don't need to say it. Amount 324. Okay, date is December 23rd, so I'm changing the date. And the bill has to be for something, so it has to be the account that we did before. Advertising expense. This example follow the book exactly, it's advertising. See, this matches because they don't have the selling expense that I was doing before because it's Rock Castle. This is 324, we're done with it. And pay the bill. Okay, so we save and close. They tell you the same day after you enter the bill to go pay the bills. They did not say write checks. That would be a mistake. Because what happened right now, after you enter the bill, you have a vendor. Okay, I'll show you it before and after. You have a new vendor called Carol Design with $324. That's accounts payable. So my accounts payable went up. I didn't show you before and after, but my accounts payable definitely went up. Here's accounts payable, $2,902. I could show you this here. $324 went up. It increased from here to here. It's an increase, right? 324. What we got to do is pay bill. It's going to be a credit to accounts payable. Okay, so I'm going to pay the bill. Step 2. Step 1 was enter bill. Step 2, pay the bill. So pay bills shows us all the accounts payable that's available and open, but we only need to choose one. So select only Carol Design Media. So you see here the total, 324, 324. The purpose of enter bills, pay bills is really to control your cash, because if you're constantly writing checks and I'll ask you, how much did you spend this month? You can't add it up in your head. Okay, I paid this for rent, this for utility. It's much harder. This way you have a better cash control. You know how much you're spending. I have bills for $25.65. I'm sending that, something like that. So you would know how much money you're spending. And most companies prefer this way because they issue checks twice a month on the 15th and at the end of the month, and they know how much they're spending on cash control. So it's really better for cash management. And if you have 2 or 3 from the same person, when you select only one, you're only paying one. So you don't have to pay all the bills to the same vendor. This one, I can't really give you an example because nobody's twice. No, nobody here is twice. But sometimes I select only pay one for each one, and I leave some bills unpaid. Okay, so in this screen, what's important is the bottom. This is the check. The bottom of the screen is really your check. The date of the check will be here. To be printed or assigned check number. I think they say, okay, so they say to select, leave it with to be printed. And then you have the checking. Of course, it's coming from checking. So you make sure that it's coming from checking from here. And then you click pay. So it's issued a check for 324. Do you want to pay more or not? So you say done. That's project 3.1. Done. I'm done with project 3.1. Okay, so I'll show you where the check goes. Everything we did today, if you realize deposits and write checks, went to the check register. So check register is here in green. I'm double clicking. Of course, I'm looking at checking. That's what we used. We did debit for checking when we make deposits. We did credit to checking when we wrote checks. So I'm saying, okay, show me the check register. So the last thing I did was a check. See, it says to print. If I know the check number, I would type a check number. Let's say the check number is 750. I would write the check number and save it. Okay, if I know the check number. You click record and it's done. Those are real checks. Everything that says to print, it was not really done yet. It's not finalized. You see, they say to print, to print, to print. Somebody didn't put a check number. It's not printed yet. Everything we did today is under this blue line. See, owner contribution deposit of 1,800 that I did increased by 1,800 minus a payment of 360. That's the check I wrote. See, it says check and a number. Then we did the second deposit. So we got from the sales receipt. Here's another deposit. Again, in the increase side. See, it's a deposit and payment. And the last one was pay bill. It tells you the source, DEP for deposit, check for check. Again, deposit. And the last one is bill payment. That's exactly project 3.1. Okay, if you don't have the same amount, don't worry, it's going to be fine. You should have the same amount. I think I made an extra transaction. Yeah, I made something extra, I think. Oh yeah, this one you don't have. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. The last one with the check of daily news was my idea. So let me delete this check. You don't need it. Okay, so this is how it should look. That's the correct balance. 1,800 is a plus, 360 is a minus, another plus, and another minus. So you should have that total when you're done. That's chapter 3, and I hope nobody will have any other questions on chapter 3. Chapter 4, starting to teach you reconciliation, bank reconciliation. So you should work with the book very carefully. Now, I suggest to do both companies. You close this company, file close, but I don't have to get anything from the next company. Rockcastle is just for you to practice. So definitely go, because you're using, you're doing this on your own. Because you're doing this on your own, you really should go switch companies and all that and do both. But I'm not demanding them. I'm only asking for mainly from chapter 4, Larry Landscaping. But I really prefer that you would work with the chapter as well. Okay, so now we're starting with chapter 4, which is mostly banking. You don't need to memorize anything. Okay, remember I showed you how to open. So right now I have sample service, which is Larry Landscaping. If I want to go to Rockcastle, I open here, open sample product. Okay, click there. You'll be in Rockcastle. Now Rockcastle is asking you to do 2 bank reconciliation. You have to do November and December, 2 months. Very useful chapter. After you did chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to be ready for the test. And I'm going to be right away in Rockcastle, but if you want to make sure you go to company, my company. Remember, close all pop-ups like Accountant Center, whatever you see that you don't need because you want the home screen to be available. If it bothers you and you close too much, no problem. Even if I closed everything, I can always go back and click on the word home. You want only the home screen. I don't need 1099 right now. Let me close it. Okay, so this is my home screen. Remember, the view I like is view, top icon bar, because you'll see shortcuts to the accounts that you need right here on the right. So if I need checking just right away, bank reconciliation and things like that, I need to know what's how much money available. I can double click on checking. It's much faster than clicking on reconcile, but this is reconciliation that it's exactly the check register. This takes me a little bit longer. If I say check register, it's asking me, do you want to see checking? And then you say, okay. So this is a double click on checking, shows me the same screen, which is the register. So double click here on checking gives you the register. Now, what does it mean reconciliation? When you go up, you will see between payments and deposits, somebody was reconciling. You see those check marks right here? In November, some of it was reconciled. Here, reconciliation, somebody did reconcile. Okay, we don't reconcile this way, we reconcile in the reconcile window in here. So I want you to read it carefully and work with it. You'll be doing November and then you will be doing December, so 2 months. And you have to use the book. 71, 452, 58, things like that. So you have to look in the book. It's in chapter 4. You have 2 bank statements that they copy from the bank and they're asking you to reconcile. Okay, the page is 194 in the book. So it's not from my head, it's from the page. They say 67,281.02 is according to the bank. So I'm comparing bank to book. Obviously, they don't agree. Then I see that the bank took from me $10 service charge. So I'm putting $10 service charge. See, it's right away going to the right account. This is a transaction. Bank service charge is going to be a debit, and it's a minus from checking, $10. The 0 for interest. So they're not paying me any interest. It's free checking. We're done. We press continue. Now the next screen would be comparing checks and deposits, which is a longer screen. Okay, deposit checks on this side. You have comparison of 0 deposit, because if you're looking, I'm doing November 20th. Okay, I'll press leave and I'll show you again what I mean. If I'm working with a reconciliation of November 20th, okay, I didn't change the date. And all these were done after November 30, December. These are December statements. It's impossible that the day they printed, November 20th, they knew about any of these deposits, because all of these are after that date. So I'm working only until November 20th. So there's a beautiful button here to help us. Hide transaction after the statement end date. Make a check mark and it'll make your life easier. Hide transaction after the statement end date. So whatever happened after November 20th, hide it. I don't need to get confused. So now I'm going to compare and see if these 4 checks actually were paid by the bank. So now I'm looking one by one. 7/12/56, yes, the bank paid it. $24, yes, the bank paid it. Larson Flooring, 32, yes, they paid it. And the last one, 225, yes, paid by the bank. Those 4 were paid by the bank. That's the only 4 transactions. So 4 checks cleared the bank. Now that I made the check marks, look at this, miracle, we agree. Ending balance and cleared balance is the same. I see the total right here. All 4 checks total $4,161.56. That's exactly what I see on the bank statement. That's 4 checks cleared with this total. So I'm done with reconciliation and I say reconcile now. Of course, this should take you a little bit longer. You know, it's your first time doing things and you display them. That's important to display. You display, you get both 2 reports. The reconciliation summary that shows that we now have 67,281.02 agrees with the register, 67,281.02. This is after them, after the fact, and this is the ending balance. You export this to Excel. This is the time to export to Excel. You can create a new worksheet or whatever you want to do, or update existing and browse and put it in exactly like they tell you in the homework. Okay, you could do replace. I didn't save it at all anywhere. I didn't save it anyway, so I don't have to do the replace right now. I'm going to minimize. But the point is the next one is 2 reports. This is the report I really like to see much better, and that's the reconciliation detail. So most of the time I'm asking you for reconciliation detail only. What I wanted to show you here is an active report. Right now you see a magnifying glass with a Z when I go on each one. Each check actively got the wording cleared. Cleared means paid by the bank. So how come we see 5 instead of 4? The book said 4. The answer is this $10. It says it's a check. The $10 service charge, the computer creates it as a check. He writes down the word service charge everywhere. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing because now it saves a check without paid to the order of and without a number. 2 mistakes that can happen to anybody, but that's the way it's built. So usually this was an adjusting entry of $10. They made it simple for you, but it caused many people to make mistakes, to write checks without paid to the order of. So I don't know who is it for. And they left without check numbers. So that's the minus of it. Okay, so that's where the $10 service charge is. It's a check. And then it's, again, the same, 67,281.02 agrees with 67,281.02. All the rest are checks after that date. That will be for the December statements. Okay, I'm all done. I'm done with that. And then you go to the next project, which is at the end, project 4.1. and you have, no, it's exercise, sorry. It's exercise 4.4. And they say to do the December bank reconciliation. So of course you have to do first the chapter with the chapter and then the exercise, because otherwise you're not going to be in December 20. So now we're ready for December 20. Beginning is 67 to 8102, ending 109 688.30. Okay, this is according to the bank ending statement. So this you always have to type, because this came in the mail or came by email, or you're looking at the screen on a bank screen and you're copying from the bank. The bank shows 109 688.30. I want to compare. Service charge. Let's see if they have service charge this time. Same, $10. Okay, so $10 again, and then I press continue. Now it's a little bit more work, but again, I love this magic button. So hide transaction after statement end date. Didn't help me much because all of these are almost in December. So now we really need to compare one by one and look at the bank statements and deposits. So 4135 until 7633. Okay, this is the last one. So I can work up, and I just did matching. Total here, 58, 413, 56. So I'm agreeing and I match 58, 413, 56. Okay, that's agreeing with all the deposits. So you're noticing my check marks. Okay, now I'm going to the second part, checks. Checks from 464 for 476 cleared, but we have a little bit of a problem. One check, 470, did not. Okay, I did too many. 476 is 711.15, that's fine. And checks 470 is missing. Okay, let's read what happened to check 470. They want you to learn to void the check. So 470 should be voided. Okay, so I'm selecting it. You have to double click on it. See the actual check. It's for work done, $500. And they called up that this check was lost in the mail. So we're going to void it. Edit, void bill payment check. Notice that it's $500, but it could have been more. It could have been $1,100 if they pay both, 500 and 600, or it could have been 600. So as a trick for me, I'm always writing down the amount here to remember that this was originally 500. So I need to issue a payment of 500 because this check was ripped or lost in the mail or shredded or whatever happened, got lost. So I forced it to be a zero. That's what a void is. Notice I didn't tell you to delete it. You do not delete in business. In real life, we only void. Void means there is a trace for the number 470. If I would say, find me check 470, edit, find check. So find, let's do simple. Find a check with check number 470. If you delete it, I will not find a trace. But if you did a void, it will show me that it was Rishita and Stan, 500, and it's a zero. Zero said cleared. And it says here that it's void for 500. So I would have a trace of it. Okay, so now in order, 465 until 476. 470, look where it is. It jumped to the other side. Jumped to the other side with a zero. And now my actual bank reconciliation is perfect because it matches 12 checks with these totals. I always look at the bank statement that came in the mail and I compare. And it says 12 checks, 15,996.28, cleared the bank. So it's correct. Another clue, my difference is zero. Now, if you have any difference, please do not reconcile. You see, I have a difference of 2,700. If you press reconcile now, the computer creates an entry for 2,700, and it creates an entry that basically you have a discrepancy, and it will say discrepancy entry. You will not know how to get rid of it. So please return to reconcile, what we call sometimes fresh eyes. I press leave, I go home, and I'm doing reconciliation with pages of pages, not just a short reconciliation like this. So fresh eyes means you come back in the morning, you look at the paperwork, and you look at the amount and you're saying, oh, 2,700 sounds like an amount that I saw. And then I saw Larson. Then I go back and I say, maybe check 477 did not clear. I unchecked it and that's the right answer. It did not clear. So 477 is still for next month. It will be cleared in January. So that's how it works. So undeposited checks that are still deposit that did not clear the bank is here. I'll show you another void just for an example. See over here, it says transfer of 500. I double click on this. It says between savings and checking, but I know it's not real because they didn't put a check mark on online banking. So it's really not an online transaction. Somebody just entered it, was thinking about it, but didn't really activate it. So it doesn't have the check mark here. So I'm going to do void. Void this transfer. And save and close. Here they're explaining to you. You're about to transfer between funds, but you have to press the check mark to really do it. So we say, okay. You changed the transaction. Are you sure? I'm saying yes. And again, this jumped and disappeared. So we have the 470 and we have this one with a 0 now. It didn't affect anything because it was a 0. We voided it. So this will be next month, December 15, probably somebody went to the bank later. So we're reconciling now. Remember to export right now, not later. You say both display. You get two reports, one on top of the other. You go to Excel, update, you go on, complete that Excel. Then you go to the other, Excel, update existing worksheet, change it, and so on. Okay, so you have tutorial for replace. I like the replace an existing worksheet. You look for the Excel file, wherever it is. I don't think I saved. Okay, here, maybe in book 1, let's say. And you select the exact placement and you say export. Okay, it's not, I didn't actually did it, but that's the point. So reconciliation detail is done. Now, why I'm telling you to export right now, because when you go back to reconcile, it's ready for the next month. You can't go back from here, and please don't undo. Undo still remembers the $10 service charge, so don't use the undo button. You want to continue. So another way of doing it, go to reports, banking. It's called previous reconciliation. Not missing checks, not the check detail, not the deposit detail. This is where they want reports. You go to previous reconciliation and you would have two choices. Summary or detail or both, and then you have both of them here. Now, which way to get it? If you want exactly what you did at that time, it's really a PDF. You display, it becomes a PDF. Okay, the reason it's a PDF, it means it's one point in time. At this time, it's reconciled and it's correct. That's the reason it's PDF. At that date, you didn't do any changes. But we know the checking account changes daily. So it had to be like a picture, a PDF. But if you want what you reconciled plus changes since then, that's a different report. That report you'll be able to export to Excel. So you're going to click here, choose the second one, transaction cleared plus changes made to those transactions. Display that. That will be a regular report that you can export to Excel. It's not a PDF. Okay, so this is in a nutshell, chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. We did a lot of chapters. Please review. And good luck.
So basically,
Yeah, so basically you will have, the midterm will be up here in this area above chapter 1. So the midterm covers chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Writing checks, making deposits, bank reconciliation, which is chapter 4, and setting up a new company, express start. So you don't have to do 5, 6, and so on. Skip, go to chapter 11, which teaches detail start, express start. That's how to set up a new company.
So the
Get a new
midterm
company.
only have like 3 questions, but
Okay, so here's where you click submit at the end. Let's say you did quiz 1, you click here and you submit, and then submit the file, practice exam, submit the file. Pivot table, you should be having transactions on Zoom. Let me see Zoom. I might have called it data analytics, but I think there's pivot tables on Zoom. Let's see where it is. Excel prep, income statement. Okay, a good one to review before the test. Review for the midterm for January 14, 2021. You see that? There you have a review for the midterm. Zoom, QuickBooks. No, the rest are for after. So it's not on this. Maybe it's on video recording. Videos. Pivot table right here. Zoom pivot table. And it's exactly like YouTube, so it has to work. It's not, yeah. Pivot tables is on Zoom session, pivot tables, Excel. It says it specifically. Okay, any other questions? Send me an email. I'm a little bit behind in emails, but I'm catching up. Any other questions?